Good morning and welcome back to the channel. It's been a little while. I've been a bit busy doing other things, but as you can probably see from behind me, I'm outside a hotel. Car's full of camera equipment and I'm on an adventure. The adventure today is I'm in the Lake District. This is the Premier Inn just outside of Whitehaven, and I've had to use this as a base because not all the hotels are open at the moment, and it's perfectly fine. I'm only about 20 minutes drive into the middle of the Lake District. So join me on this little adventure. We're going to go and see what we can find. First of all, I'm going to probably go up to the Lone Tree, and then I'm going to go to the slate quarries at the top of the pass, Honister Slate, and probably take a bit of a hike to one of the peaks nearby because I don't want to start at the bottom, having not good knees. The weather, as you can see, is a bit grey if I spin you round, and overcast. It's 6 o'clock in the morning and I'm hoping for some nice landscape photography today. So let's go and see what we can find. Good morning. I've arrived just up from Buttermere at a place called Fletcher's Fields, or Fletcher Fields, whatever the sign said that I just showed you. And it's just a walk down from a little passing place on the side of the road that I stopped at. And walk down the hill here, there's a nice little beach. You can see a pebble beach running along the edge of the lake here. And I think there's some shots here. So before I get to the Lone Tree, I thought I'll set up for a couple of shots and see what I can get from here. I'll walk down onto the beach and that'll expose, because the trees are quite low here, they're sort of putting off the view across to the lake to the other side at the height I'm at. I'm only about 12 feet above the water level, so I'll move down to the beach and see what we've got there. To the beach, I moved about 10 feet and just realised that over my shoulder here, going in that direction, is the little gravel track that's running along the edge of the lake in both directions. And behind me that way there's a little wooden bridge over that shoulder. And I thought this shot here, with the track acting as a leading line, made quite an interesting little shot. There's no one around, which is really very nice. And if I just spin you round, nice little pano with the little track running off into the distance. So I thought I'll grab that shot. So let me get that, and let's see, 15th of a second. We need about f11, f13 will do. ISO 100, quarter of a second. Light levels are quite low. It's only 7:30 in the morning. The sun's well up, no one around, but there's a fair bit of cloud which is starting to break up, which is a bit unfortunate because I was hoping it would stay reasonably bright, but I'll have to alter the shutter speed a little bit on the vlogging camera because it's a bit dark, so hopefully that's not too bad. Okay, let me take that shot. And I've set my camera up unusually now because of watching a few videos from other people for back button focus. I never used it before, but I can see the advantages for landscape because you only need to focus once. You don't need to keep refocusing as you actually decide to change camera settings for whatever reason, or if you actually recompose the shot, you've already got it focused on the object that you want. And what I'm doing is at f13, this is it's a 24 to 70 I've got on. I'm focusing a third of the way into this shot, which if you look round down there is approximately about 20 feet away. And that should give me a sharp image from front to back. There's a little bit of motion in the trees because the wind's blowing, so a quarter of a second will catch that, but I'm not unduly concerned about that. I don't think I need leaves to be absolutely frozen. In fact, sometimes that little bit of motion actually makes the shot more interesting. So I'll get on with taking that shot, and then we'll move on to the beach, see what's there. I'm standing in the water. I've got the camera set up pointing back towards the shore, because if I go and paddle down into the water in my wonderfully waterproof boots, hopefully, he said, what I'm interested in is this shot here. No, they're not wonderfully waterproof. I'll move back out a bit. Is this shot of the old tree that's fallen up into the little stream, which is coming down the hillside here. Yes, definitely wet feet. Definitely wet feet now. And I've set the camera up to take a shot bracketing with this tree in the corner here, this tree, the little bridge, little wooden bridge, and then the stream coming down and the tree in the bottom. It's not everyone's cup of tea as a picture, but I quite like it, so I'm going to take it. Well, I finished here at Fletcher Fields. I'm going now to the lone tree on Buttermere, just down the road, about a mile or two, and I've got to say it's really very pleasant. There's no one around at all. I don't know if that's lockdown or whatever it is, but I've heard about 2 cars. I've passed a couple of camper vans, obviously with photographers probably in them, waiting for the weather, waiting probably overnight sleeping. But look at this, it's absolutely glorious. And, Oh, a bit blustery here. Suddenly the weather's changing, which often happens in the Lake District. It's coming over cloudy, so I decided to walk the mile to the edge of Buttermere here without my coat, thinking, it's a nice warm morning. So it looks like I'm about to get completely drenched. Anyway, I've arrived here. It's a little bit windy. The lone tree, which is just there-ish, actually isn't in the water. It's on the edge of the water because the water level's lower than normal. So the shot I was hoping to get, I'm not going to be able to get, so I'm just going to get a few more shots, or some shots from around here, and I'll talk you through them as I find them. So I'm just going to do a bit of a recce, have a look to see what there is, and take a couple of shots and then run for the hills, or run for the car more exactly, because that does look like rain coming in. So let's see how we get on. The one tree, which is there, if I just move you down to the beach a little bit, you can see just sticking out roughly there, if my finger's pointing in the right direction, is a one tree, but it's not a one tree in the water because the water level's low and the tree is just on the marginal edge of the reeds. So I can't get a nice shot that I was hoping to get, as I mentioned earlier, but what I'm hoping to do now is actually set up for a couple of shots. I'll see what I can get. I'm not sure I'm going to get what I want, but the sky's nice and moody, which is what I want. And I actually don't get rained on, so I've not really set the tripod up, or at least I did very quickly. But the shot that I was interested in, and it's spotting with rain, so I didn't have time to set the vlogging camera up to show you the shot being taken, but you'll see it in a moment. The idea basically being that down here there is a log, and there is said lone tree. And I wanted a portrait, obviously, portrait orientation of basically that shot there, with the lone tree framed by the mountain in the background, and this log down here adding foreground interest to the shot and leading the eye in to the shot, leading to the tree, and tree leading up into the centre of the frame. I think I got it. I had to keep wiping the lens regularly. In fact, I put the 2-second timer on and was wiping the lens up until about half a second before the exposure was taken to try and guarantee there'd be no water on the lens. But anyway.